Tonight, you are not on land. There is no ground beneath you that remains still. Only wood, shaped into a long, narrow vessel built for movement rather than rest. A Viking longship, its frame cutting through the dark water with quiet certainty, never pausing, never waiting. You feel it first in your body before your mind fully understands it. The constant motion, a slow rise, a gentle fall. The sea does not stop, and neither does what carries you across it. The ship moves as though it has learned the rhythm of the ocean and chosen to follow it without resistance. You sit or lie where space allows. There is no distinction between comfort and function here. The same wooden benches used for rowing during the day become the only place to rest at night. Narrow, hard, unforgiving, built for purpose, not ease. The air is open around you. No roof, no walls. Only sky above and sea on all sides. The wind moves freely across the deck, carrying salt, cold, and moisture that never fully leaves your skin. Even in stillness, everything feels exposed. Around you, others settle into their positions. Not in silence but in reduced sound. Words fade as bodies lower. Cloaks are pulled tighter. Limbs fold inward. There is no personal space here in any modern sense. Vikings on long voyages slept, separated only by equipment, bodies, and necessity. Yet no one speaks of discomfort. It is understood. Somewhere within this ship, roles remain active even through the night. Not everyone sleeps at once. A rotating watch continues. Men assigned to observe the sea, the wind, the horizon. In Viking voyages, this was not optional. The ocean demanded attention at all times. You begin to understand that sleep here is never complete. It arrives in fragments. You shift slightly, feeling the roughness of the wooden plank beneath you. There is no mattress, no padding beyond what you bring yourself, perhaps a cloak. Perhaps worn wool, perhaps animal skin if you are fortunate. Even then, it is never enough to erase the hardness beneath. Cold settles in slowly, not suddenly, not aggressively. It spreads through the air like something patient. The open design of the longship allows wind and sea spray to reach every corner. Wet wool clings rather than protects. Warmth is something you hold temporarily, never something you keep. You pull your cloak closer. It helps, but only partially. The fabric has already absorbed the night. Dampness is not an exception here, it is a condition of travel. Salt, moisture, breath, and sea air all combine into something that never fully disappears. Above you, the sky stretches without boundary. Stars appear distant, unmoving, unaffected by the motion beneath them. They remain the only stable reference in a world that never stops shifting. You find yourself watching them for a moment, wondering how something so still can exist above something so constantly alive. The ship creaks softly beneath you. Wood responding to pressure, movement, water resistance. These vessels were built from overlapping planks, clinker-built construction, designed to flex rather than break. Even sound becomes part of the structure's language. At first, it feels unfamiliar. Every sound pulls you back into awareness. The water against the hull. The shifting weight of bodies. The occasional adjustment of someone finding a better position that does not really exist. But slowly, something changes. The mind begins to accept repetition. The body begins to adapt. You are not sleeping in stillness. You are sleeping inside motion. You adjust your position again, careful not to disturb those beside you. There is no isolation here. Every movement carries consequence in such limited space. Viking longships were narrow by design, built for speed and efficiency. Not comfort, meaning rest was always shared, always compressed. You realize there is no your space. Only temporary placement within a collective structure. A soft breath escapes someone nearby. Another shifts slightly. A cloak rustles against wood. These small sounds form the nighttime rhythm of the ship. Not silence, but controlled quiet. A shared understanding that rest must coexist with vigilance. Somewhere forward, a watchman stands. Eyes scanning the dark water. Listening for changes in wind or wave behavior. In Viking expeditions, storms were not rare interruptions, they were expected risks. Sleep always existed beside uncertainty. You close your eyes briefly. The movement of the ship becomes more noticeable without visual anchors. The rise and fall feels deeper. Your body responds instinctively, adjusting balance even in stillness. Adaptation happens without instruction. You begin to match your breathing to the motion. In and out. The rhythm of water becomes a reference point rather than a disturbance. Cold continues its slow presence. It does not intensify suddenly. It accumulates. Your body curls slightly, conserving heat. This posture is not comfort, it is survival logic. Heat retention in exposed maritime environments is a constant concern. Somewhere nearby, a shift occurs. A change in watch duty. One figure rises while another lowers themselves into rest. No disruption follows. This cycle is routine, essential, built into long-distance seafaring life. You realize sleep is not private here. It is rotational. You drift slightly without fully leaving awareness. The boundary between waking and rest becomes less defined. Not a fall into sleep, but a gradual reduction in resistance. The ship continues forward. The sea continues without acknowledgement. And your body, without permission or ceremony, begins to accept the conditions it cannot change. The cold is still present. The motion is still present. The crowding is still present. But your reaction to them begins to soften. Not because they disappear, because you stop resisting them. Above you, stars remain unchanged. Below you, water remains in motion. Between them, you exist on a structure built for survival across distance, weather, and uncertainty. You begin to understand something quietly. Rest here is not absence of struggle. It is adaptation within it. Your breathing slows further. Your body remains curled, supported only by wood and fabric. The hardness beneath you no longer feels new. It feels known, familiar through repetition rather than comfort. Nearby, others breathe in similar rhythms. Not synchronized, but harmonized through environment. Each body managing its own recovery in limited conditions. And somewhere in this shared stillness, awareness begins to fade, not completely, not abruptly, but in gradual layers. The ship moves. The sea continues. The night holds everything within it without preference or pause. And you, within that movement, no longer search for perfect rest. Only enough. Enough to remain. Enough to continue. Enough to drift, slowly, into sleep that does not arrive all at once, but spreads through you quietly, like acceptance finally settling into place. And as the ship carries forward into the dark water, you remain there, no longer resisting the motion. No longer measuring comfort, only resting within what is possible, as the world continues to move beneath you. Tonight, you are not on land. There is no soft ground beneath your feet, no familiar doorway to step through, no quiet hearth waiting to welcome you. Instead, there is only the long, narrow body of the ship beneath you, gently rising and falling as though it breathes with the sea itself. You feel it before you even fully understand it, the subtle lift. The quiet drop, the endless motion that never quite stops. You sit still for a moment, letting your body adjust. The air is cool, carrying with it the faint sharpness of salt. It clings to your skin, settles into your hair, presses lightly against your lips. Somewhere nearby, water brushes against the wooden hull in a slow, rhythmic pattern. It is not loud, not violent, but constant, always there, like a presence that refuses to leave. Above you, the sky stretches endlessly. There are no walls to hold it back, no roof to contain it. Only darkness, scattered with distant stars that seem both comforting and impossibly far away. You tilt your head slightly, watching them, wondering how something so still can exist above a world that never stops moving. Tonight, you will try to sleep. But already, you can feel the quiet truth settling in. Sleep here is not the same as it is on land. It is not something you fall into easily. It is not something that wraps around you with warmth and certainty. Here, sleep is something you approach carefully, something you negotiate with. You shift your weight slightly, feeling the hard surface beneath you. There is no bed waiting. No soft layering of woven cloth or fur prepared just for comfort. Only wood, firm, unyielding, shaped for purpose rather than rest. You can feel its texture even through the fabric beneath you, each small imperfection pressing gently into your body. Around you, others are settling in their own quiet ways. There is very little talking now. The voices that once carried across the deck earlier in the day have faded into soft murmurs. And even those are beginning to disappear. One by one, bodies lower, shoulders relax, movements slow. Yet no one truly lets go. You notice it in the way they position themselves, never fully stretched out, never completely still. There is always a sense of readiness, a quiet awareness that lingers just beneath the surface. Even in rest, the body remembers where it is. You draw your cloak a little closer around you. It offers some comfort, a small barrier against the night air, but not enough to fully keep it away. The cold does not rush in all at once. It arrives gradually, almost politely, settling into the spaces between fabric and skin. Slipping into your fingers, brushing against your face. You exhale slowly. The breath leaves you in a soft cloud, briefly visible before disappearing into the darkness. For a moment, you watch it, as though it might tell you something, as though it might reveal how to become still in a place that never truly rests. The ship creaks gently beneath you. It is not a sound of weakness, but of movement, wood adjusting, responding, living in its own quiet way. At first, it feels unfamiliar, almost unsettling. But as you listen more closely, you begin to notice its pattern. It is not random. It has a rhythm, subtle and steady, like the slow turning of something ancient. You wonder if, with time, this sound becomes something else. Something softer, something comforting, or perhaps it always remains just as it is, present, unavoidable, impossible to ignore. Your body shifts again, searching for a position that feels right. But what does right mean here? There is no perfect place to lie, no ideal way to settle. You are surrounded by edges, by limited space, by the quiet presence of others who are doing the same as you, adjusting, adapting, enduring. You rest your head carefully, aware of every movement. Even the smallest shift feels significant. The ship responds, the space changes, the balance adjusts. It is a delicate thing, this act of trying to rest in a place that is never still. You close your eyes for a moment. Immediately, the darkness feels deeper. Without the distant stars to anchor you, the movement becomes more noticeable. The rise and fall of the ship feels stronger, more present, as though your body is suddenly more aware of it. You open your eyes again. Perhaps not yet. Perhaps you need a little more time to understand this place, to let it settle into you before you try to let yourself drift away. Somewhere nearby, someone shifts in their sleep, or in their attempt at it. Fabric brushes softly against wood. A quiet breath escapes, slow and steady. These small sounds carry easily in the open space, each one distinct. Each one reminding you that you are not alone here. And yet, there is a certain solitude in this moment. Each person exists within their own small space, their own quiet effort to rest. There is no shared comfort, no collective stillness. Only individuals, side by side, navigating the same experience in their own way. You tilt your head slightly, listening again to the sea. It does not change. It does not pause. It continues, steady and patient, as though it has always been here, as though it always will be. You begin to wonder, do you adapt to this? Does the body learn, over time, to accept this constant motion, this quiet uncertainty? Does sleep come more easily after nights like this, or does it always remain just out of reach? Something fragile and temporary? Your fingers curl slightly against the surface beneath you. You can feel the faint dampness in the air, the way it settles into everything, the way it refuses to fully leave. It is not overwhelming, not yet, but it is there, a quiet reminder that nothing here stays dry for long. You shift again, just slightly. It is a small movement, but even that feels deliberate. Every action here seems to carry more weight, more awareness. There is no careless motion, no unconscious adjustment. Everything is felt. Everything is known. You let your gaze drift upward once more. The stars remain unchanged, distant and quiet. They do not move with the ship, do not respond to the sea. They exist beyond it, untouched by the rhythm that holds you here. For a moment, that feels comforting. Something stable, something certain. You take another slow breath. In and out. You begin to match it, gently, to the movement beneath you. The rise of the ship, the fall of it. The soft push of water against wood. The quiet creak that follows. In and out. Perhaps this is how it begins. Not by forcing sleep, not by searching for it, but by allowing yourself to become part of what is already here. The motion, the sound, the space, all of it. You let your shoulders relax, just a little. Not completely. Never completely. But enough. Enough to feel the difference. Around you, the ship continues its quiet journey. No one announces it. No one needs to. It is understood in the way the air feels, in the steady direction of the wind, in the endless presence of the sea. You are moving. Even as you try to rest, even as you close your eyes, you are moving forward into something unknown. And perhaps that is part of why sleep feels so distant. Because how do you truly rest when the world beneath you never stops? How do you let go when there is nothing to hold onto but motion itself? You shift once more, settling as best as you can. your cloak pulled close, your body angled carefully, your breath slow and steady. You close your eyes again. This time, you do not open them immediately. Instead, you listen to the sea, to the wood, to the quiet presence of others around you. You let it all exist, just as it is, without trying to change it. And slowly, very slowly, you begin to understand. Sleep here is not something you fall into. It is something you approach gently, patiently, without expectation. It may come, it may not, but for now, you remain here, in this quiet space between wakefulness and rest. Held gently by the movement of the ship, carried forward into the night. And somewhere, within that motion, you begin to soften. You wake before you realize you have slept. There is no clear moment of drifting off, no gentle slipping into dreams. Only a slow return to awareness, as though you had been resting just beneath the surface of something rather than fully. Within it, the ship is still moving, just as it was before, steady and patient. Nothing has changed, and yet your body feels different, slightly heavier. As though it has borrowed a small piece of rest and is unsure how to hold onto it. You do not stretch. There is no space for it. Instead, you shift carefully, mindful of where your arms are. Where your legs rest, how close you are to the others beside you. Every movement must be considered. The Longship is not built for comfort. It is built for purpose, long, narrow, efficient. A vessel meant to cut through water, not to cradle those who travel upon it. You sit up slowly. The wood beneath you feels firm, unchanged, still carrying the faint chill of the night air. There is no separation between where you sit and where you slept. No defined boundary between rest and waking. It is all the same surface, the same shared space, the same narrow strip of existence you occupy alongside others. You begin to notice it more clearly now, the lack of space. Not just the absence of room to move freely, but the constant presence of others. Shoulders close, legs tucked, belongings gathered tightly, each person adjusting themselves into whatever small area they can claim without disturbing the balance of the whole. There are no walls, and yet it feels enclosed. The sides of the ship rise just enough to mark the boundary between you and the sea, but not enough to create privacy. Everything is open. Everything is shared. The wind moves freely across the deck, carrying with it the scent of salt and something faintly metallic. You glance around. Some are already awake, sitting quietly, their movements slow and deliberate. Others remain in that in-between state, eyes closed but bodies still tense, as though they are listening even in rest. No one seems fully relaxed. Not here. Because here, there is always something to be aware of. You shift your position again, trying to ease the stiffness in your body. But there is no easy way to do it. The benches you sit on, used for rowing during the day, are not shaped for comfort. They are narrow, hard, unyielding. At night, they become your resting place not because they are suitable, but because there is nowhere else. You realize something quietly, almost without thinking. There is no such thing as your place here. Not in the way you might expect. No assigned bed, no personal corner. Only temporary positions that change as needed, depending on movement, on tasks, on the needs of the group. What feels like your space now may belong to someone else later, and you will move without question. You draw your cloak closer again, more out of habit than necessity. It serves many purposes here: warmth, protection, something to soften the hard surface beneath you. But even it cannot create true comfort. It only reduces the sharpness of what is already there. The ship shifts slightly beneath you, a gentle roll that reminds you of its constant motion. You pause. Even this small movement requires adjustment. Your body responds instinctively now, leaning, balancing, compensating without conscious thought. Perhaps you are already beginning to learn. Or perhaps you have no choice. You look down at the wooden planks, noticing their texture more clearly in the growing light. They are worn, smoothed in some places, rough in others. They tell a story of use, of time, of many journeys like this one. And you are simply another presence among them. There is no softness here. No layered bedding, no woven mats laid out for comfort. Only what you bring, what you wear, what you can arrange for yourself in the moment. And even then, it is never quite enough. You begin to understand that sleep here is shaped by these conditions. It is not something separate from the environment. It is defined by it, limited by it. You do not create a space for rest. The space already exists, and you must fit yourself into it. You shift your legs slightly, careful not to press too much into the person beside you. Even that small awareness, of where your body ends and another begins, never fully disappears. It lingers, even in sleep. Perhaps especially in sleep. You wonder how long it takes to stop noticing it, or if it ever truly fades. A quiet voice murmurs somewhere nearby, low and brief. It does not carry far, does not interrupt the calm. Conversations here are soft, minimal. Words are used carefully, as though the space itself encourages restraint. There is no room for excess. Even sound feels like something that must be measured. You take a slow breath, letting the air fill your chest. It is fresh, open, but also cold in a way that settles deep within you. You can feel it as you inhale. The way it sharpens your awareness, keeps you present. Perhaps that is another reason sleep feels so distant. Because everything here keeps you awake in small, subtle ways. The space, the movement, the presence of others, the open air. Nothing allows you to fully disappear into rest. And yet, people do sleep. You have seen it. You have felt it, if only briefly. It comes in small pieces, in moments rather than hours. It is not perfect, not deep, but it is enough to continue. That is what matters here. Not comfort, not ease, only enough. You shift your weight once more, testing the limits of your space. It does not change. It remains exactly as it is, narrow, shared, unyielding. And slowly, you begin to accept it. Not because it becomes easier, but because it becomes familiar. The edges of discomfort soften slightly, not in sensation, but in expectation. You no longer search for a better position, because you understand there isn't one. There is only this space, this ship, this quiet, constant movement. You glance once more at those around you. Each person carries the same understanding, whether spoken or not. It exists in the way they move, the way they settle, the way they rest without ever fully letting go. There is a quiet discipline in it, a shared acceptance. No one complains, no one resists, because there is nothing to resist. This is how it is. You lower yourself slightly again, not fully lying down, but allowing your body to rest where it can. Your shoulder leans against the wood. Your legs remain bent. Your cloak shifts with you, adjusting, offering what little comfort it can. It is not ideal, but it is enough. You close your eyes for a moment, just to feel it. The closeness, the firmness beneath you, the presence of others nearby, the steady motion of the ship. You let it all exist without questioning it. And in that quiet acceptance, something shifts within you. Not comfort, not ease, but understanding. This place was never meant to hold sleep gently. It holds it tightly, briefly, and only when it must. And you, like everyone else here, are learning how to take it, exactly as it is. You do not lie down so much as you fold yourself into rest. There is no clear boundary where the day ends and sleep begins. No moment when someone prepares a place for you, smooths a surface, or offers you softness. Instead, you look at what is already there, the narrow bench, the bare planks, the small space beside another body, and you begin to decide how your own body might fit into it. You turn slightly, testing the edge of the bench beneath you. It is not wide, just enough to sit, just enough to hold you if you balance carefully. During the day, it is a place of work, of steady rhythm, of hands pulling oars through water. At night, it becomes something else, not by design, but by necessity. You lower yourself slowly. Your weight settles onto the wood, and you feel it immediately. Firm, unyielding, cool from the air. There is no give, no softness beneath you. Every part of your body that touches it is aware of it. Your hip, your shoulder, the side of your leg, they all register the same quiet resistance. You shift, just a little. Perhaps if you angle yourself differently, it will feel better. Perhaps if you lean more onto one side, or draw your knees closer, or rest your arm beneath your head. You try, but each position brings its own discomfort. There is no perfect way to lie here. Only variations of what is possible. So you begin to choose not what feels good, but what feels least difficult. You pull your cloak beneath you, folding it once, then again. It creates a thin layer between your body and the wood. Not enough to soften it completely, but enough to dull the sharpness. The fabric holds a trace of your warmth, a small comfort that feels almost fragile in the open air. You lie back, slowly, carefully. Not fully stretched. There isn't space for that. Your legs remain slightly bent, your body angled to avoid pressing too much into the person beside you. Your arm tucks close to your side, or perhaps curls beneath your head as a makeshift support. It is not a bed. It is a position, a shape you hold for as long as you can. You become aware of how still you must remain. Even the smallest movement shifts your balance. The bench is narrow, the space limited. If you turn too suddenly, you risk pressing into someone else, or losing your position entirely. So you learn to move slowly, deliberately, as though every motion must pass through thought before becoming action. You listen to the quiet adjustments around you. Someone shifts their weight, a soft sound of fabric brushing against wood. Another exhales slowly, their breath steady but shallow. These are the sounds of people finding their place, not in comfort but in acceptance. You turn your head slightly. The surface beneath it is hard, even through the cloak. There is no pillow waiting to cradle you, no softness to ease the pressure. Only your own arm or a folded piece of fabric, offering just enough support to keep your head from resting directly against the wood. You try closing your eyes. For a moment, your body resists. It notices everything: the firmness beneath you, the angle of your spine, the slight strain in your neck. It does not relax easily. It searches for something familiar, something that tells it this is a place meant for rest. But that signal never fully comes. Instead, you begin to feel something else. A quiet adjustment, not in the space around you, but within you. Your body stops searching for comfort and begins to accept what is there. The tension does not disappear, but it changes. It becomes something you can hold, something you can exist within without needing to fix it. You take a slow breath, in and out. Your chest rises slightly, then falls. Even this small movement shifts your balance, reminds you of where you are. But you remain still, letting the rhythm settle into you. You notice how your body presses into the surface beneath you. Points of contact become clearer over time. The side of your hip, the curve of your shoulder, the back of your arm. They begin to feel heavier, as though gravity itself has grown stronger here, pulling you down into the wood. You shift again, just enough to ease the pressure. But relief is always temporary. You understand now that this is not something you solve. It is something you move through. Time passes differently here, without walls, without separation, without the usual signals of rest. It becomes difficult to know how long you have been lying like this. Minutes stretch, then soften. Your awareness drifts in and out, never fully settling. You feel the faint movement of the ship beneath you. It is always there, a gentle rocking that never quite stops. At first, it made everything more difficult. But now, it begins to blend with your breathing, your stillness, your attempt to rest. You wonder if, over time, it becomes something else. Something your body begins to expect. Something that, without it, would feel strange. Your hand shifts slightly against the wood. The surface is cool, textured, real. It reminds you of where you are, of what this place is. There is no illusion here, no attempt to make things softer than they are. And yet, there is a kind of honesty in that. You are not being misled. You are not being comforted in ways that will not last. You are simply here, with what is. You listen again to those around you. Their breathing has changed. Some are slower now, deeper. Not fully asleep, perhaps, but closer to it. Others remain more alert, their bodies still carrying tension, their awareness not yet willing to fade. You realize that sleep comes differently to each person here. There is no shared moment of drifting off. No collective stillness. Only individual rhythms, each shaped by the same conditions, but experienced in their own way. You adjust your head once more, searching for a position that feels sustainable. Not perfect, just sustainable. You settle on something that holds. Your arm beneath your head. Your body angled slightly. Your cloak folded just enough. It will not feel good. But it will do. You close your eyes again. This time, your body resists less. Not because it has become comfortable, but because it has begun to understand. This is what rest looks like here. This is what sleep must pass through. You let your breath slow, matching it gently to the movement beneath you. The rise, the fall, the quiet rhythm of the ship becomes something you can follow. Something you can rest within, even if only partially. Your thoughts begin to soften. They do not disappear, but they lose their sharpness. They drift more slowly, moving through your mind without urgency. You feel the weight of your body, the firmness beneath you, the closeness of others nearby. And within all of it, you begin to find a kind of stillness. Not the stillness of perfect rest, but the stillness of acceptance. You are not lying in a bed. You are not surrounded by comfort. You are here, on this narrow bench, wrapped in your cloak, held between movement and stillness. And slowly, very slowly, your body begins to rest anyway. The cold does not arrive all at once. It begins quietly, almost gently, as though it is testing your awareness. At first, it is only a slight difference in the air, a subtle thinning of warmth. A faint sharpness that brushes against your skin. You might not notice it immediately. You might even think you can ignore it. But it does not leave. You lie where you are, wrapped in your cloak, your body held in that careful position you have chosen. For a while, it feels manageable. Your own warmth remains close to you, held beneath layers of fabric, protected by stillness. And then, slowly, it begins to slip away. The air moves across the open deck without resistance. There are no walls to stop it, no barrier to soften it. It finds the smallest openings, the space at your neck, the edge of your sleeve. The thin gap where fabric no longer fully covers your skin. You feel it there first. A light touch. A quiet intrusion. You pull your cloak closer, instinctively. It helps, but only for a moment. The fabric shifts, settles, but the cold is patient. It does not force its way in. It waits. It lingers. It seeps through slowly, as though it understands that time is on its side. You curl slightly, drawing your body inward. Your knees come closer to your chest, your shoulders round forward. It is a natural response, a quiet attempt to hold on to what little warmth you have. You make yourself smaller, tighter, more contained. Around you, others do the same. No one speaks of it. No one needs to. The movement is shared, understood without words. Bodies fold inward, cloaks tighten, positions adjust. It is not a coordinated action, but it feels like one, a silent agreement between those who know what is coming. The ship continues to move beneath you. The gentle rocking does not stop, does not change. But now, it feels different. Each shift of the deck allows the air to move in new ways, carrying the cold across your skin from a different angle. A different direction. You feel it against your face now. A faint sting, subtle but persistent. Your nose grows colder, your cheeks tighten slightly. You turn your head, trying to shield yourself, but there is no direction that offers complete relief. The cold is everywhere. You exhale slowly, watching your breath form in the air once more. It lingers for only a second before fading, but in that moment, it tells you everything you need to know. The warmth you carry is fragile. And it is leaving you. You press your hands closer to your body, tucking them beneath your arms or into the folds of your cloak. Your fingers have already begun to feel different, less responsive, slightly stiff. You rub them together gently, trying to bring back sensation, trying to remind them of warmth. It works, briefly. But like everything here, the relief does not last. A faint dampness settles into your awareness. At first, it is barely noticeable. A slight heaviness in the fabric beneath you. A coolness that feels deeper than the air alone. You shift slightly, pressing your hand against the surface, and you feel it more clearly now. Moisture. Not enough to soak, not enough to pool, but enough to remain. The sea does not need to overwhelm you to make itself known. It leaves traces everywhere, on the wood, in the air, within the fabric you rely on for warmth. Your cloak, once dry, now holds that dampness. It is subtle, but it changes everything. The warmth it offered becomes less certain, less stable. It no longer traps heat in the same way. Instead, it feels heavier, cooler, less protective. You adjust it again, trying to find a way to keep the dry parts close, to shift the dampness away from your skin. But there is no perfect solution. The moisture spreads slowly, evenly, without urgency. Like the cold, it is patient. It does not rush. It simply becomes part of your surroundings. You feel it beneath you now, through the folded layers of fabric. Seeping into the places where your body presses against the wood. It is not sharp or sudden. It is a quiet presence, a steady reminder that nothing here remains untouched. You close your eyes, trying to focus on your breathing. In and out. You try to ignore the chill, the dampness, the way your body seems to tighten against it. But your awareness keeps returning to it, again and again, as though it cannot be set aside. Because it cannot. This is not something separate from your rest. It is part of it. You shift again, searching for a position that might preserve what little warmth remains. You tuck your chin closer, draw your cloak tighter, press your body into itself. And still, the cold finds you. Your feet grow colder first. They are the furthest from your core, the least protected. Even wrapped, even covered, they begin to lose their warmth. You flex them slightly, trying to keep the feeling alive, trying to prevent the numbness that waits just beyond. Awareness. Your shoulders follow. The tension there deepens, not just from the position you hold, but from the chill settling into your muscles. You feel it as a quiet stiffness, a resistance that was not there before. You breathe again, slowly. The air fills your chest, cool and sharp, then leaves just as quickly. It does not warm you. It only reminds you of the difference between inside and out. Around you, the sounds of rest continue. Soft breaths, small movements, the occasional shift of fabric. But there is something else now, something quieter but just as present. A shared endurance. No one escapes this. No one is untouched by it. And yet, no one rises to fight it. There is no sudden movement, no attempt to escape. Because there is nowhere to go. This is the place you have. This is the condition you exist within. You begin to understand that warmth here is not constant. It is something that fades and returns, something you hold onto when you can and release when you must. It is not guaranteed, not stable, not something you can rely on without question. It is temporary, like sleep, like stillness, like comfort. You press your hands closer again, feeling the faint warmth that remains between your palms. It is small, but it is yours. You focus on it, hold it, let it remind you that not everything is lost to the cold. The ship creaks softly beneath you. It does not change. It does not respond to your discomfort. It continues as it always has, moving through the water with quiet certainty. The sea brushes against the hull, steady and unbroken. It does not care for warmth or cold. It simply exists. And you, lying here within it, begin to feel that same quiet acceptance. Not because the cold has lessened. Not because the dampness has disappeared. But because you have begun to understand that this is part of the night. Part of the way things are. You cannot push it away. You cannot avoid it. You can only adjust. You shift one final time, settling into a position that feels as stable as it can be. Your body curled, your cloak wrapped tightly, your breath slow and measured. You close your eyes again. The cold remains. The dampness lingers. But within it, your awareness softens slightly. Not completely. Never completely. But enough. Enough to rest within it, even if only for a moment. Enough to exist alongside it without resistance. And in that quiet balance between warmth and cold, between comfort and discomfort, you remain, still trying to sleep. At first, you think it is the silence that will keep you awake. Not the absence of sound, but the unfamiliar kind of quiet that exists far from land. There are no distant voices carried through walls, no crackling fire. No small, reassuring noises of a place that feels contained. Only openness. Only the wide, unbroken space around you. But as you lie there, listening more closely, you begin to understand. It is not silent at all. The sea is always speaking. You hear it in the steady brushing of water against the hull. A soft, repeating sound that comes and goes in a rhythm you cannot quite predict, yet somehow begin to recognize. It is not loud, not demanding. It does not call for your attention. It simply continues, as though it has always been there, waiting for you to notice. You focus on it for a moment. There is a pattern to it, though it is not exact. A gentle push, then a quieter pause. A small swell, then a retreat. It does not repeat in the same way twice, and yet it feels consistent, like a language spoken without words. The ship answers in its own way. A faint creak runs through the wood beneath you, subtle but distinct. It travels along the length of the vessel, shifting slightly with each movement of the water. You feel it as much as you hear it, a quiet response, a conversation between sea and ship that continues whether you listen or not. At first, it feels unfamiliar, even unsettling. Each sound draws your awareness back to where you are, to the fact that you are not on stable ground. That everything beneath you is moving, adjusting, responding to forces you cannot see. But you keep listening, and slowly, something begins to change. The sounds do not disappear. They do not soften, but your reaction to them shifts. What once felt like interruption begins to feel like rhythm. What once kept your mind alert begins to guide it gently, giving it something steady to follow. You take a slow breath, in and out. Without realizing it, you begin to match your breathing to the movement around you. The rise of the ship, the fall of it. The quiet wash of water, the answering creak of wood. It is not exact, but it is enough. You notice other sounds now, smaller ones, closer. The faint rustle of fabric as someone adjusts beside you. The slow, steady breathing of another, deeper now, more settled. A soft exhale that lingers for just a moment longer than before. These sounds do not disturb the quiet. They become part of it. Each one slips into the space around you, filling it gently, creating something that feels less empty, less uncertain. You realize that this is not silence. This is a different kind of presence. A layered, living quiet that surrounds you, holds you, continues without needing anything from you. You shift slightly, and the wood beneath you answers again with a soft sound. It no longer startles you. Instead, it feels almost expected, as though the ship acknowledges your movement in its own quiet way. You wonder how long it takes for this to become familiar. For these sounds to feel less like something new and more like something known. Perhaps it happens slowly, without a clear moment of change. Just as it is happening now. You close your eyes again. This time, the darkness does not feel as deep. Because the sounds remain. They give shape to the space around you, outline the movement, define the night in a way that sight cannot. You are no longer relying on what you can see. You are listening, feeling, allowing the world around you to exist without needing to control it. The sea continues its quiet rhythm. You begin to notice the smaller variations within it. The slightly stronger push of a wave. The softer retreat that follows. Each one is different, but none of them demand your attention. They simply pass, one after another, like slow, steady breaths. The ship moves with them. Not against them, not resisting, but responding. There is a kind of understanding in it, a quiet cooperation between wood and water that allows everything to continue. Without force, you feel it beneath you. The gentle lift, the slow drop. It is no longer something you need to adjust to. It is something you begin to move with. Your body softens slightly. Not completely, but enough. Enough that the tension in your shoulders eases just a little. Enough that your breathing becomes more even, more aligned with the rhythm you are beginning to follow. You listen again to the others around you. Their breathing has deepened further now. Some are still, their bodies settled into whatever position they have found. Others shift occasionally, small movements that do not break the quiet. Only remind you that rest here is never fully still. You realize something gently, almost without thinking. No one here is truly asleep in the way you might expect. Not deeply, not completely, but they are resting, held within this rhythm, supported by it, even if only for a short while. You take another slow breath. In and out. The air is still cool, still carries the faint trace of salt, but it no longer feels as sharp. Or perhaps you have simply grown used to it. Your awareness has shifted away from the discomfort, drawn instead to the steadiness of what surrounds you. You let your thoughts drift. They move more slowly now, less defined. They no longer search for solutions, no longer question every sensation. They follow the rhythm, just as your breath does, just as the ship does. You begin to understand that this sound, the quiet voice of the sea, is not something you must endure. It is something you can rest within. It does not demand stillness from you. It does not require you to be perfectly at ease. It simply continues, offering a kind of constancy that does not change with your discomfort. You feel your body grow heavier against the surface beneath you. Not because the wood has softened, but because you have stopped resisting it. You allow your weight to settle, to be held exactly as it is. The sounds continue. Water against wood, wood against movement, breath against air, all of it blending into something that feels steady. You remain aware, but your awareness is quieter now. Less urgent, more willing to let things pass without holding onto them. You notice the way each sound fades naturally into the next, how nothing lingers longer than it needs to. There is no sharp ending, no sudden silence. Only a continuous flow, a gentle unfolding of moments. You let yourself follow it. Not thinking, not questioning, just listening. And in that listening, something begins to shift again. Your body does not become comfortable. The cold has not disappeared. The surface beneath you is still firm. The space is still limited. But these things no longer stand at the center of your awareness. They move to the edges, softened by the rhythm that now surrounds you. You take one more slow breath. In and out. The sea continues. The ship responds. And you, lying quietly between them, begin to drift, not fully into sleep, but closer to it than before, carried gently by a lullaby that was never meant to soothe, yet somehow does. You do not decide when to sleep. That understanding comes to you slowly, not as a rule spoken aloud, but as something you begin to feel in the way the others move. In the way the night unfolds without asking for your preference. Here, rest does not belong to you alone. It is shared, divided, shaped by the needs of everyone aboard. You notice it in the quiet exchanges. A hand on a shoulder. A soft word spoken close, almost lost to the wind. Someone rises while another settles, their movements careful, practiced, without drawing attention. There is no announcement, no disruption. Only a quiet passing of responsibility from one to another. You lift your head slightly, watching. The person beside you shifts, pulling their cloak tighter before slowly pushing themselves upright. Their body carries the same stiffness you feel, the same reluctance to leave even the small measure of rest they have found, but they do not hesitate for long. They stand, steadying themselves as the ship moves beneath them. And then, they take their place. You begin to understand. Sleep here is not taken all at once. It is given in pieces, in moments allowed rather than chosen. Someone must always remain aware, always watching the dark horizon, the movement of the water, the direction of the wind. Because the sea does not rest. And neither can all of you. You lower your head again, letting it rest against your arm. Your body feels the pull of fatigue, deeper now than before. But there is something else woven into it, a quiet awareness that this rest is temporary. You are not free to disappear into sleep. Not completely. At any moment, it may be your turn. You listen to the footsteps of the one who has risen. They are soft, measured, careful not to disturb those who remain lying down. Even in movement, there is restraint, a quiet respect for the fragile rest others are holding onto. The ship creaks gently beneath them. It acknowledges their presence, just as it did yours. You close your eyes again. But your mind does not fully follow. It lingers near the surface, aware of the shift that has taken place. Someone is watching now. Someone is holding the space that allows you to rest, however lightly. You wonder what it feels like to stand there, awake while others sleep. To carry that responsibility in the darkness. To listen not for comfort but for change. You imagine it for a moment. The wind against your face, sharper now that you are upright. The wider view of the sea, stretching endlessly in all directions. The quiet weight of knowing that if something happens, you must be the one to notice. It is a different kind of wakefulness. Not restless, but alert, purposeful. You feel a quiet respect for it. For the trust that exists between you and those around you. You lie down, allowing your eyes to close, because you believe someone else is watching. And later, when it is your turn, they will do the same. It is not spoken, but it is understood. You shift slightly, adjusting your position once more. The wood beneath you remains firm, unchanged, but your body has grown more familiar with it. The discomfort is still there, but it no longer demands your full attention. Fatigue softens it. You take a slow breath. In and out. Your awareness drifts again, moving gently between the present moment and something quieter, less defined. You are not fully awake, but not fully asleep either. You exist in that narrow space between, where thoughts fade before they fully form. And then, a soft touch. Light, careful, but enough to bring you back. Your eyes open slowly. For a moment, you do not move. You simply listen, feel, understand what is happening. The person beside you is now leaning slightly closer, their presence replacing the one who stood before. It is your turn. There is no urgency in the gesture. No sudden demand, only a quiet expectation. You take a breath, deeper this time, and begin to move. Your body resists at first. The small amount of rest you have found clings to you, reluctant to be released. But you push yourself upright, feeling the stiffness in your limbs. The lingering chill that has settled into your muscles. You steady yourself as you sit. The ship moves beneath you, just as it always has. But now, in this position, it feels different. More noticeable. More immediate. You place your hand against the wood beside you, grounding yourself. And then, slowly, you rise. Your legs hold you, though they feel slightly unsteady at first. You adjust, shifting your weight, allowing your body to remember how to stand within this constant motion. Around you, others remain where they are. Eyes closed, bodies still, breathing slow. You do not wake them. You do not need to. You step carefully, moving to the place where the previous watcher stood. The wind meets you more directly now, brushing against your face, slipping through the layers of your cloak. You pull it closer, instinctively. Your gaze lifts. The sea stretches out before you, dark and endless. The horizon is barely visible, blending into the sky in a way that makes it difficult to tell where one ends and the other begins. You listen, not as you did before, when you lay down. Now, your listening has purpose. You notice the rhythm of the water, the direction of the wind, the subtle changes in the movement of the ship. Each sound carries meaning, each shift holds information you are expected to understand. You remain still. Your body adjusts to this new role, this quiet responsibility. The fatigue does not leave you, but it changes shape. It becomes something you carry rather than something that holds you down. You are awake, not fully rested, but present. Time passes slowly, or perhaps it only feels that way. You do not measure it. There is no clear marker, no boundary that tells you how long you have been standing here. Only the steady continuation of the sea, the quiet breathing behind you, the constant motion beneath your feet. You shift your weight slightly. Careful, always careful. You glance back once, just briefly. Those who lie there now trust you, just as you trusted the one before. They have allowed themselves to drift, however lightly, because they believe you will remain here. That you will notice, that you will respond. It is a quiet bond. One built not on words, but on necessity. You turn your gaze forward again. The night remains unchanged. The sea continues, and you stand within it, holding your place. Until, eventually, the moment comes again. A soft movement behind you. Another shift. Someone else rising. You feel it before you see it. The gentle passing of time. The quiet signal that your turn is ending. You take one last look at the horizon. Then you step back, carefully, quietly. You return to your place, lowering yourself once more onto the narrow bench, into the space you left behind. Your body remembers immediately. The firmness of the wood. The limited space. The lingering cold. But it also remembers something else. That this rest, however brief, is yours again. You settle in, adjusting your cloak, finding that same imperfect position. You close your eyes, and this time, the path back to rest feels just a little more familiar. Because now, you understand. Sleep here is not something you hold on to. It is something you share. When sleep finally comes, it does not feel like an ending. It feels like a soft slipping. A quiet crossing from one kind of awareness into another, where the body loosens just enough to let the mind wander. Somewhere deeper. You do not notice the exact moment it happens. One breath follows another, your thoughts grow slower, and then, they begin to change. You are no longer only here. And yet, you are not entirely gone either. The movement of the ship remains with you, even as your mind begins to drift. It shapes your sleep, carries it, presses gently into it. Your dreams do not stand still. They shift, rise, and fall, just like the sea beneath you. You find yourself somewhere familiar. Or perhaps it only feels that way. A shoreline appears in your thoughts, quiet and still, the kind that does not move beneath your feet. You can almost feel the difference immediately, the firmness of ground, the absence of that constant sway. It feels steady, certain. You walk there, slowly. Each step is clear, grounded. The air is softer, warmer, untouched by the sharp edge of salt. You breathe it in, noticing how easily it fills your chest, how it does not carry the same weight as the air on the ship. For a moment, it feels like home. But even here, something is different. The silence is deeper than it should be. The stillness, too complete. You pause, listening, expecting to hear something familiar. A voice, a distant sound, anything to anchor you. But there is only quiet. You turn slightly, looking out toward the water. It is there, just as it was before. But it does not move. It stretches out, calm and unmoving, as though it has forgotten how to breathe. You feel something shift within you. A small unease. Because you are no longer certain if this place is real, or if it is something your mind has created to hold on to what it misses. You take another step, slower this time. The ground beneath you remains steady, unchanged. But somewhere deeper, you begin to notice the absence of motion. The thing that once unsettled you now feels strangely necessary. You miss it. Not the discomfort, not the cold or the dampness, but the rhythm. The quiet rise and fall that has become part of you without your noticing. You close your eyes within the dream. And for a moment, you listen. There it is. Faint, distant, but present. The sea. It follows you here, even into this place of stillness. It exists beneath the surface of your thoughts, shaping what you see, what you feel, what you remember. Your dream shifts. The shoreline fades, dissolving slowly, like something carried away by water. In its place, the ship returns, not fully, not clearly, but enough that you recognize it. You are lying there again. Or perhaps you never left. The boundary between dream and waking blurs, softens, becomes something less certain. You feel the wood beneath you, the familiar firmness. You hear the quiet creak, the distant wash of waves. But it is not exactly the same. Everything feels deeper, more distant, yet more present at the same time. You drift further, Faces begin to appear, though not clearly. Shapes, impressions, fragments of people you know, or think you know. They do not speak. They do not move in ways you can fully understand. They simply exist, passing through your thoughts like shadows in soft light. You wonder what they mean. If they are memories. If they are something else. You do not try to hold on to them. Because here, in this state, nothing stays for long. Everything moves. Everything shifts. Just like the sea, a faint sense of something larger begins to settle around you. Not a presence you can see, but something you feel. A quiet awareness, as though the world extends beyond what you can understand, beyond what you can touch. You have heard stories of this. Whispers of dreams that carry meaning, of nights where the mind travels somewhere beyond the body. Of signs, of symbols, of messages that come when the world grows quiet enough to receive them. You do not know if that is what this is. But you feel it. A softness. A depth. A sense that you are not entirely alone, even within your own thoughts. The ship moves again beneath you. Or perhaps it never stopped. Your body shifts slightly, responding without waking. The motion blends into your dream, shaping it, guiding it, carrying it forward. You drift again. This time, there is no shoreline. No clear place. Only movement. Endless, steady, quiet movement. And within it, you feel yourself becoming lighter. Not in your body, but in your mind. The tension you carried fades further. The awareness that kept you close to waking loosens its hold. You are no longer watching, no longer listening with intent. You are simply there, floating within something that does not require understanding. You wonder, faintly, if this is what others feel. If the warriors beside you, the ones who close their eyes and remain so still, are also traveling through places like this. If their dreams carry them home, or forward, or somewhere beyond both. You wonder if they see the same things. Or if each dream is its own quiet world. The thought passes. It does not linger. Because here, nothing lingers. Everything moves. Everything flows. Even your thoughts. A deeper stillness settles around you now. Not the stillness of the shoreline, but something else. A stillness within movement, a calm that exists alongside motion rather than in its absence. You rest within it, fully now. Your breathing slows. Your body softens. The edges of awareness fade. And for a brief, quiet moment, you are no longer holding yourself between wakefulness and rest. You have crossed into sleep. Not deep, not lasting. But enough. Enough to carry you forward. Enough to give you something to return from. And slowly, as the night continues, as the sea moves beneath you, as the ship carries you onward into the unknown, you remain there, drifting, dreaming, held gently between what is real and what is only felt. You are not always the one who sails. Sometimes, you are the one who remains. And even here, within the quiet movement of the ship, that truth lives inside you. You feel it in the way your thoughts drift, not only to the sea, but to the land you have known. To the spaces where life unfolds without the constant pull of water beneath your feet. To the places where your hands are busy with tasks that do not require balance. Where your body is not always adjusting, always aware. You lie there, wrapped in your cloak, and for a moment, you are somewhere else. Not fully, not completely. But enough to feel it. The warmth of a fire that does not fade with the wind. The solid ground beneath you that does not shift or rise or fall. The quiet rhythm of a life shaped by cycles you understand, morning and evening, work and rest, presence and return. You hold that image gently. Because here, it feels distant. And yet, it is not gone. You open your eyes slightly, just enough to see the faint outline of those around you. Their shapes are familiar now, even in the darkness. The curve of a shoulder, the fold of fabric, the stillness of bodies resting in the same limited space. You are part of this. Whether you chose it or not. Whether you remain here for the journey or wait for its return. There is no clear line between those who travel and those who stay. Because the journey belongs to all of you. You shift slightly, adjusting your cloak, feeling its weight settle around you. It carries more than warmth. It carries a kind of quiet protection, a boundary between you and the world that feels just enough to hold you together. You think of the women who are not here. The ones who remain on land, who wake each day without knowing exactly where the ship has carried those they care for. Who measure time not by distance traveled, but by absence. By waiting. You understand them, because even here, even as you lie within the movement of the sea, part of you is still waiting. Waiting for something certain, something steady, something that does not shift beneath you. You breathe slowly, letting that thought settle. There is strength in that waiting. Not loud, not visible in the same way as those who stand at the front of the ship or pull at the oars. But it exists, steady and enduring, in the quiet spaces between action. You feel it in yourself. In the way you adjust without complaint. In the way you hold your place, even when it is uncomfortable, even when it asks more of you than you expected. There is no recognition for this. No moment where someone points to you and names what you carry. But that does not make it any less real. You glance toward the others again. Each person here holds something unseen. Fatigue, responsibility, memory, longing. It does not show in obvious ways. It exists beneath the surface, shaping how they move, how they rest, how they endure. You are no different. You pull your cloak closer once more, feeling the familiar chill of the air against your face. It has not changed. The sea continues its quiet rhythm, the ship moves steadily forward, the night stretches on without interruption. And yet, something within you feels different. Not lighter, but steadier, as though you have found a way to exist within this space without needing it to become something else. You think again of those who wait, of the quiet strength it takes to remain in place while others move. To trust that what leaves will return. To hold on to the memory of something that is not present. That strength lives here too. In a different form, but no less important. You feel it in the shared silence of the ship, in the unspoken understanding between those who lie side by side. No one asks for comfort. No one demands ease. And still, you continue. Together, you close your eyes again, letting your awareness drift inward. Your body remains where it is, curled slightly, balanced carefully, wrapped against the cold. But your thoughts move more freely now, no longer caught between discomfort and adjustment. They move towards something quieter. A recognition that this experience, this night, this way of resting, is not separate from who you are. It is part of it. Just as the land is. Just as the waiting is. Just as the quiet endurance of those unseen is. You take a slow breath. In and out. The air fills you, cool and steady, then leaves without resistance. You do not try to change it. You do not wish for it to be warmer, softer, different. You accept it, and in that acceptance, there is a kind of calm. Not the calm of comfort, but the calm of understanding. You listen once more to the sea. It continues, unchanged. A constant presence that does not ask who you are or where you belong. It carries you, just as it carries the ship, just as it carries the journey forward. And you realize, quietly, that you are part of that movement too. Whether you stand or sit, whether you sail or wait, whether you are seen or unseen. You are part of it. You remain still, your body resting as much as it can, your mind settling into a quieter place. Around you, the others breathe softly, their presence steady and familiar. No one speaks. No one needs to. Because this moment does not require words. It holds itself, just as you do. And slowly, as the night continues, as the ship moves gently beneath you. As the sea carries you forward into whatever waits beyond the darkness. You rest within that quiet strength. Unseen, but deeply, undeniably present. At some point, you stop waiting for perfect rest. You do not decide it all at once. There is no clear moment where you give something up. It happens gradually, quietly, in the way your body settles without searching. In the way your thoughts soften without needing answers. You lie where you are, wrapped in your cloak. The wood still firm beneath you. The air still cool against your skin. And yet, something feels different. Not outside of you, within you. The need to find comfort begins to loosen. The quiet frustration that once followed each shift of your body, each reminder of where you are, begins to fade. Not because the discomfort is gone, but because you no longer measure your rest against what it should be. You allow it to be what it is. The ship moves, steady and unchanged. You feel it, as you always have, the gentle rise, the soft fall. But now, it no longer pulls your awareness in the same way. It no longer feels like something separate from you. It feels familiar. You breathe slowly, in and out. The rhythm comes easily now. Not forced, not measured, just present. Your body follows it without effort, without needing to think. Around you, the quiet remains. The soft breathing of others. The occasional shift. The low, steady voice of the sea against the hull. None of it has changed. And yet, it feels softer somehow. Less sharp, less insistent, as though your awareness has stepped back, giving space for everything to exist without pressing against you. You shift slightly, adjusting your position. The wood is still hard. Your cloak still holds traces of dampness. Your body still carries the memory of cold. But none of it feels urgent. None of it asks to be fixed. It simply exists, and you exist within it. You close your eyes again. This time, there is no hesitation. No pause where you question whether sleep will come. You do not reach for it. You do not wait for it. You simply rest. Your body sinks slightly, not into the wood, but into itself. The tension you once held, subtle, constant, always present, begins to release. Not completely, never completely, but enough. Enough that your shoulders soften. Enough that your jaw loosens. Enough that your breath deepens without effort. You feel the weight of your body more clearly now. Not as discomfort but as presence. You are here, held between movement and stillness. Carried forward without needing to guide the path. The sea continues its quiet rhythm. You no longer listen for it. You exist within it. It surrounds you, supports you, moves with you in a way that no longer feels separate. The sound, the motion, the air, all of it blends into something steady, something constant. Something you no longer resist. Your thoughts slow. They do not disappear, but they lose their edges. They drift, soft and unformed, moving through your mind without asking for attention. A memory passes. A feeling follows. Neither stays for long. You do not hold on to them. You let them move, just as the ship moves. Just as the sea moves. Everything here is in motion. And for the first time, you do not try to stand still against it. You allow yourself to move with it. Your breathing deepens further, in and out. Each breath feels quieter than the last, as though it no longer needs to announce itself. It simply happens, steady and sure, carrying you gently towards something softer. You notice how your body no longer searches for a better position. It has accepted this one, not because it is ideal, but because it is enough. That understanding settles deeply within you. Enough. The word does not come as a thought, but as a feeling. A quiet recognition that you do not need more in this moment. You do not need warmth beyond what you have. You do not need softness beyond what is here. You do not need stillness beyond what this moving place can offer. You only need this, and this is enough. The ship continues its journey. You do not think about where it is going. You do not think about how long it will take. Those questions no longer rise to the surface. They remain somewhere distant, beyond the reach of this quiet moment. You are here, now, resting. The night holds you gently. Not as something separate, but as something you are part of. The darkness is no longer deep or uncertain. It feels calm, open, soft in a way that does not require comfort. You feel the presence of others around you, but it no longer shapes your awareness. You do not measure your space against theirs. You do not adjust to avoid them. You simply exist beside them, each of you held within your own quiet rest. Together, but separate, you take one more slow breath, in and out, and then, something shifts. Not suddenly, not dramatically, but gently. Your awareness loosens its hold. The edges of your thoughts fade further. The sense of your body softens, becoming less defined, less immediate. You are still here, but you are also drifting. Not into something unknown, but into something familiar. A deeper rest, not perfect, not complete, but real. The sea continues, the ship moves, the night stretches on, and you, no longer holding yourself between wakefulness and sleep, begin to drift fully into it. There is no resistance now. No questioning, no searching, only a quiet acceptance, a soft surrender. You are carried, not by effort, not by control, but by the steady, endless motion that has been beneath you all along. And within that motion, you finally rest.